Hey, what is up, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Grief Drums, and in today's video, we're going to be looking at the C75 SMG that Carly, Dokkaebi, and Vigil all run, and I'm going to try and offer some tips and advice on what I've found to really help me when I'm using this weapon recently. Now, for the longest time, I used the SMG-12, and I just refused to use the C75. I didn't really like the iron sights on it, and I found it quite cumbersome and difficult to use, and it just didn't seem to really fit in anything that I was doing. But after using Carly a little bit this season, I've actually started to really like it. But let's start from the top here. So currently on Twitter, I have this running. By the time this video goes out, it's probably going to have ended. But I literally put up a tweet saying which one and why, the C75 or the SMG-12. If you're running Dokkaebi or Vigil, you're going to be able to take both of these, and you get the preference to choose. The SMG-12, as you're no doubt aware, has the option to have loads of different attachments on it, hollow, reflex, you could put a laser sight and stuff like that on, and that seems to be the main selling factor to a lot of people, although the recoil of it is horrendous. I fully understand why they nerfed this, but it just bounces all over the show, and it's really difficult to control now. So you don't really have a hope in hell of actually properly controlling it, and instead you're going to have to tap fire, and whilst there's no negative to that, you know, it's good to do, I am really bad for not tap firing. You know, I see an opponent, it's a heat of the moment situation, you're in a clutch, you know, moment, and you don't tap fire. You hold down the trigger and you think, I can control this, I can get it back onto target, and the reality is you really can't. There's nothing worse. The weapon's just continually veering further and further away from the target, and just mentally you're thinking, I can get this back, and you don't let go. You don't let go of that trigger, and I'm terrible for it. So as a result, I've started messing around with some other weapons, for example, the C75. Now again, as you'll see from the background, I'm going to try and showcase this. The target acquisition is trash. The iron sights on this, because the recoil is so controllable, the iron sights are really big. I think they're some of the biggest in the game, other than the Coke can, as I was brilliantly shown by Lieutenant Custard, which is probably the worst iron sights in the game. Alright, well maybe not the worst, but they're not nice, are they? So I was playing online the other night with Get Flanked, and listen to the words that he said in this next clip, and this is the whole purpose and reason that I'm trying to make this video for people.
VIP.
You gotta kill with the CZ.
That's all I'm using at the minute. So I do fully understand his logic and mindset of, you know, it's not the nicest of weapons, and judging by the poll, it's quite clear that a lot of other people think that as well, and the poll isn't even finished. But nevertheless, we're going to break down what it is I'm doing differently to actually land these kills, compared to how previously I would play this weapon and miss everything and not actually see what I was aiming at and really struggle with it. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at Siege and how you aim in Siege. Now, 9 times out of 10, you are already going to be ADSing when you go around a corner. You're going to have the weapon up, you're going to be looking exactly where you think someone's going to be, and you're going to be ready to fire as well. And that's a good thing to do because it reduces, obviously, the hip fire accuracy is nowhere near as good as the ADS accuracy. However, the SMG is a lot less like the SMGs that you would normally use on most of the defenders. Instead, this is a lot more like a pistol, and I think you've got to kind of treat it like that. Does anyone here watch Meaty Marley? Now, I know you're going to say, yeah, but he's a memer, it's not really the same, and I would wholeheartedly disagree with you, because have you ever watched what he does when he's trying to go for that perfect 1-dig, and he's running around with those pistols, getting those spicy headshots? Have you noticed what it is that he does that's different? What it is that enables him to land those spicy one-taps? He doesn't ADS until he's already seen the opponent. Like, genuinely, if you stop and watch what exactly it is he does, we'll slow it right down here. He peeks around the corner, sees the opponent, and then ADSs. And that's the way you've got to do it with pistols. Now, obviously, that's not the only way you can do it with pistols, but it certainly does assist you, because the ADS speed is so quick that you can do exactly that. You can go from hip fire to shooting accurately in a split second. So that's exactly what I've been doing with the C75, and I've been getting really good results from it. I've been waiting to see that person. I've been keeping the reticle aimed roughly where I think their head is going to be. Obviously, it does take a little bit of guesswork because the crosshairs are so wide on the screen when you're walking around. But even still, you can get it roughly where it needs to be, and then it's just a case of right click and then left click. Although if you're on console, it's obviously going to be the triggers. Although having said that, there's a lot of people on console that don't use triggers and use mouse and keyboard anyway. So you know what? Right click and then left click. By treating the weapon like a pistol and doing exactly this, waiting until you see that person walking around hip fire ready, and as you see them start to aim, I guarantee you'll get a lot more kills from doing so. Obviously, it does pay to sort of stop shooting every now and then and sort of reacquire your target if you've missed on your first few shots. And this also isn't going to make you a god instantly. It does take a bit of practice, and it goes against everything in Siege. I mean, when do you walk around hipfire ready? You're nearly always aiming at the common spots, and you're nearly always ADSing, but, you know, it feels really, really weird to do, and it feels horrible to do. But once you start doing it and getting used to it with this weapon in particular, you will definitely benefit from it. So please go away, give it a try, and let me know how you get on. Maybe if Canadian had tried this prior to the Season 9 Pro League finals, it may have turned out a little bit differently for EG, but I'm not any better than any of those guys, and in that situation, under that pressure, but you never know. Maybe in that situation, if he'd have ADS just half a second later, his target acquisition would have been a bit better, and the whole thing could have turned out differently. So this next one is going to take us on over to Coastline. This is one that I believe I've shared before a very long time ago, but I've been getting so many kills from it, I really have, that I figured, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and showcase it again, because people are still falling prey to it, and because it's just so damn successful for me. Whenever we play the hooker billiard site on Coastline, it is always my job to try and control Cool Vibe Stairs, and subsequently hooker itself, and all of the sunrise below. On top of that, I can also control VIP, and the majority of the corridor coming into billiards. Now, that sounds like a lot of places, but this is the best way to try and defend areas like this. And as you can see, my team are putting a lot of utility into this area of the map, and that's because by doing that, I can control so much of this quarter of the map. Now, one interesting thing is not only can I control the hooker itself, I can throw, you know, Legion goo mines in there, I can control that window, I can control the billiards double door. If I need to go down to sunrise, I can, and I can pretty much just stop anyone coming up this staircase. But on top of that, I can also control areas of VIP. Now, if you don't know where VIP is, it's the room with the great big circular sofa in it. And it's a really common thing for teams to try and open up this wall in here, as it allows teams a line of sight all the way through into billiards itself. This can be used to cut the site in half, and if you go ahead and open the billiards window as well, it's just going to make it really difficult for anyone to move around in there. Hooker is bad enough itself with the door open and the window open, so playing from Cool Vibe Stairs can be extremely beneficial to controlling all of this. Now, the interesting thing here is you'll see there is a drone hole looking into VIP, and this is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about controlling VIP as well as the Cool Vibe Stairs. Now, whilst you can't directly control what is going on inside of that room, what you can do is you can control the exit from it, or certainly limit them from exiting out into the corridor. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to walk all the way down to this point, and I'm going to place down the armor bag just in this doorway so we can actually see it from the drone hole. Now, as I said, if I go down and lie down on these stairs here, you can look to the right and you can see the actual armor bag just there. So that is the doorway. So anyone trying to exit that doorway out into the corridor, you can go ahead and light them up. Now, obviously, the further back you sit, you'll see my legs are flailing around all over the show. But nevertheless, you can get a really good angle. And as you'll see there, these bullet holes that are landing, this is just next to 90. This is the 90 corridor. Anyone that's creeping down here, they can get shot through a drone hole that's going to be very, very difficult to contest. Now, this is a proper cheap and dirty tactic, and I'm not even ashamed to say it. I am well aware how disgusting it is, because I use it all the time, and it really seems to upset people. But I love utilising this angle to sort of control what's going on in there. And as you'll see from the background, I'm getting loads of kills from it. I mean, it might not be 4 or 5 in a round, but, you know, getting that one pick onto Thermite or Hibana can really change the flow of the game. It really can. Sometimes they do manage to still get the wall open, and that is unfortunate. But just being able to get those cheeky picks on that one person, and then when you get a call, there's someone there, or, you know, just have a cursory look, it can be extremely beneficial, so keep it in mind. So the final tip for today is going to take us back on over to Clubhouse. This is a map that I've been playing around with quite a bit lately and trying to figure stuff out on. And as you'll see, just inside of this window in the CCTV server room, you can actually open up all this section of floor and get a really disgusting angle all the way down to the garage door. Now, I had completely forgotten that this existed, either that or it didn't exist, but I think it must have done it. I'm really confused by this, because we found it the other day, and I honestly don't remember for the life of me ever seeing this when I tore the map apart, but maybe I had just missed it and didn't know about it. Now, as you'll see, I just lit Ben up as he came walking in. He took a significant amount of damage, and he's all the way over here. He was just running in at this point and trying to come up the stairs. Now, let's face facts here. If you are in CCTV and that is the site you're trying to hold, the reality of you actually staying there and holding an angle if this window here is open, or alternatively, if this wall over here is open, you're not going to do it. You're not going to hold that angle because that would just be stupid. But what if you are not holding this area, or if all of that stuff is closed and castled off and reinforced? You can potentially control the garage or assist people in the garage, and you can also provide intel. Now, you don't have to get a kill in order for an angle to be really, really effective. This one here can provide you intel that someone has come in and is coming up the stairs of the garage without the camera. If the camera has been taken out and you've got no intel, you can gain that intel without actually exposing yourself too much. But the cool thing about this angle is if you're off roaming and you're playing as like a vigil and downstairs is the objective site, you can actually cover things like the ladder, again, for that information. They come in, they take the camera out and you don't know where they've gone. You can kind of keep an eye on them and figure out where exactly they're going without them really knowing what's going on. Because, I mean, how many times do you check this specific angle to see if someone is actually aiming down at you? You never know. It might be beneficial. It's something that I found recently, and it's something that I'm personally going to try and incorporate into my game. And I'm just curious if, other people knew about it. I'm afraid that's it for today's video. If you did enjoy this one, please make sure to hit that thumbs up. If you don't already, make sure to subscribe. And if you do want to get involved at all in this series, please head on over to my Discord or send me a message on Twitter, and I'd love to include some of your tips and tricks that you've got. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, stay reckless and relentless.